All right, let's dive right into this explainer and tackle that exact creeping frustration you probably feel every single time you open your reporting tools. We've all been there, right? You log in hoping for some real clarity, and instead, you're hit with a wall of confusing charts and numbers that don't actually tell you what you're supposed to do next. Well, today we're talking about escaping what we call the metric museum and transforming all those static numbers into actual driving decision actionability. You know the feeling. You're a regional CEO or an operational leader sitting through a morning ritual that can really only be described as data archaeology. You're just digging through endless layers of dashboards, staring at flashing green and red arrows, and despite having all that expensive technology, you still can't answer a critical, high-stakes question like, why did we lose that 15% margin last week? It is absolutely maddening. Basically, you're drowning in this sea of raw data and complex holograms. And here's the real kicker. We've been sold these massive, enterprise-grade tools built for Fortune 500 companies that have entire armies of data scientists. They were never meant for a lean, agile mid-market firm. It's like trying to parallel park a freight train.
If you're feeling like you're failing at this, let me assure you, you are definitely not alone. Listen to this number, $127 billion. That represents the global BI selection crisis. It's the staggering amount of money poured into expensive software that basically just builds a metric museum. It's a place where beautiful data sits behind glass, completely disconnected from the daily operational realities that actually drive business forward.
So how do we escape this trap? We have to do a major structural reset of your mindset. We need to shift your entire strategy away from museum curation, passively hoarding raw data, obsessing over vanity metrics, and having literally no idea why your margin dropped. Instead, we have to pivot hard toward growth leadership. That means focusing entirely on influencing decisions, establishing a crystal clear ground truth, and ruthlessly reclaiming your operational efficiency.
Section 1. The Match Framework Pivot, moving from artifacts to action. This brings us to the very first letter of our framework, maturity. And I absolutely love this saying. Stop buying Ferraris when you're still learning to drive. In the data world, that means you need a clean, reliable ground truth way before you start messing around with fancy predictive AI. You can't predict tomorrow if you don't even have an accurate record of what actually happened yesterday. Okay, so here's how the match framework plays out to fit your actual mid-market reality. We just hit maturity. A is for actual use. Look, if a metric doesn't trigger a specific business action, scrap it. It's just vanity. T is technical integration. Your CRM, accounting, and HR platforms need to speak the exact same language. C stands for cost realism. Apply the rule of 3x, meaning for every dollar spent on a software license, you budget 3 more for implementation and training. And H is the human factor, putting user adoption above absolutely everything else.
Let's actually double down on that human factor for a second. The biggest trap heading into 2026 is assuming better tech automatically equals better decisions. But human psychology just doesn't work like that. Facts alone simply do not move your team. Decisions are driven by emotion, and then we just use logic to justify the choice after the fact. If you just serve up raw data without a clear, compelling narrative arc, your team is just going to stare at it, ignore it, and go right back to trusting their gut.
Section 2. Silent revenue leaks and their financial consequences. Now check out this absolutely devastating statistic. A 26% global revenue leak. Revenue ops leaders are reporting that over a quarter of global revenue isn't lost because of some massive strategic failure. No, it's vanishing into silent administrative gaps. We're talking about unbilled invoices, manual payroll errors, untracked usage. It's happening simply because your workflows are tangled up instead of being tightly governed.
And this is exactly why your biggest competitive advantage right now isn't some flashy neural network. The real stealth ROI hides in what people call boring data. It's all about operations recovery, aggressively plugging those unglamorous, silent leaks, tracking down a missing invoice or a lost hour of billable labor. That goes straight to your bottom line as pure profit.
Section 3. The Recover Framework, plugging the holes. So here is your quick, step-by-step guide to auditing those broken automations. First, identify the gap between your CRM and your accounting software, because that is ground zero for leaks. Second, audit your manual entry points. Literally anywhere a human is copy-pasting data, you are bleeding money. For instance, there was a regional firm where sales closed deals perfectly in the CRM, but accounting was manually typing up the invoices. They were dropping 5% of their billing just from typos. Insane, right? Finally, step 3. You implement strict governances to lock those processes down permanently. And the payoff for doing this is huge. By running that exact audit and right-sizing their systems, mid-market firms are seeing massive, immediate jumps in profitability. We're talking about reclaiming 15 to 20% of margin within just 90 days. This isn't even about fighting for new sales. This is literally just keeping the money you've already rightfully earned.
Section 4. Invisible collateral. Redefining clean data.
Because really, clean data is way more than just accurate reports. It becomes your invisible collateral. Think of it as the ultimate definitive proof that your operations are rock solid. When you have this, you can secure funding, you can scale operations smoothly, and you build incredible institutional trust. It completely transforms your dashboard from this dusty artifact in a museum into an active, breathing profit generator.
So, the mandate from Pivot BI Analytics is super clear. Stop curating a museum and start driving growth. The companies that are going to win in 2026, they won't be the ones hoarding the biggest piles of raw data. The winners will be the ones creating the clearest path to action, usually by teaming up with a trusted data partner who actually understands the reality of the mid-market.
I'm going to leave you with a quick thought to chew on as you get back to your day. Just how much silent leak is hiding in your dashboard right now? Are you truly ready to step out of the metric museum, reclaim your hard-earned revenue, and kick off a 90-day customer journey reset? The data is sitting right there, just waiting for you to take the wheel.